Dear souls. So this is Agape from Enter Agape, and today I'd like to share with you a story that happened to me recently. So yesterday I had the pleasure and I had this beautiful coaching session with one of my mentors, and how I was able to meet that person is also an interesting story. So I want to share also about that. And it's around, I think, a month that I've started this practice of repeating every day after I wake up that I'm happy to receive all the gifts that the source have for me today. And I already say thank you for that. And please believe me that I have been receiving so many gifts from the universe that if I wanted to share it with you, it would be a very long video. But this particular one is interesting because what I've learned yesterday, I want to share with you. And the interesting thing is that I kind of won this coaching session when I was on an event around 2 weeks ago, and I was interested in this particular person because her surname was actually how my son is called. It was the same word, yeah. So her surname was just the same as the name of my youngest child, and that gave me this idea, okay, maybe I should go there, I should see what is going on there. And so I learned that there is this lottery and you can leave your data and you can win a coaching session, and I did. And we had a wonderful session yesterday, and she found a way to explain to me how the programming works from the conscious to the subconscious mind. And I want to share with you this parallel because I think it's very nicely explained. And she used like two pens, and she used this parallel of a pen being like a swing, so like a seesaw, like up and down. And all the programs you have, like the main programs, and we know that we have so many programs because everything we do or experience is a program that is then kind of displayed on the reality through our third eye and through our senses and through our brain, which is basically the computer. And so every program, it's either in this position, and this position would be like the balance state, and this is where we want to be, in this balance state. So in order to achieve this balance state, you need to like even out both sides of the programming with a certain point which is in the middle, and it's called decision. But before you enter this point where you make a decision, you're usually, for example, in this position. So let's say an example, you're operating from the wounded victim perspective. Yeah, you are feeling a victim all the time. You feel you don't have anything to say in the world. You think you are hopeless. You're in this victim state, and let's say you are like this. So whenever a trigger comes out, you slide on this side, like straight head down, because you are not balanced. But what you don't say is, while you're having this conscious awareness, or maybe not even, because you're not there yet, right? You're not there yet, that you're behaving like a victim, or someone else is perceiving you like a victim, or you perceive someone else as a victim in everyday life. What you don't know, what you're not aware, is that to counterbalance this situation, you have something opposite in your subconscious. So when the trigger comes and it activates you, you then, in the flight or fight mode, release the subconscious program and become your own offender. You become the offender, which is usually covered in your subconscious for the most of the time. And this is just like a one part of the story. So you always have like two opposites in you, but the way you want to behave, move, navigate through life is like finding this balance. But what was actually really interesting for me is she explained that in order for the program to become like more balanced, you would usually find another person that would counterbalance you in the same situation. So for example, you in your everyday life behave like a victim, while the person that is drawn to you, and you probably choose because you choose always from the programs you have in your everyday life, would probably counterbalance you and behave like an oppressor. And on the same time, this other person in the subconscious, which is unseen, is behaving like a victim. So you have like equilibrium now. And now, this is the most important part. When one of the sides, let's say it's you, decides want to work on myself, I want to change something because I see the results in my reality that doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm seeing there is something wrong, let's say. Generally, I want to change that. And maybe let's take this example. You realize that you've been behaving like a victim for the most of the time, and you want to change that. So what you're doing, you are balancing the scale in order to become in a neutral state with a choice, with this ability, this realization. Then you have a choice, then you can change it, then you can change your pattern in your head. And there are so many ways to do that, and I would be happy to help you with that if you're willing. So you can always write to me in a comment, or leave a mail at enteragape@gmail.com. And going back to that, once you try to change the dynamic and you want to become more even, the other person would have to balance itself, herself, or himself also. So there is a more equilibrium state for both of you. But what usually happens is once one side is trying to balance, so the other person has two choices. This other person can also balance out, so you together become more in a state of equilibrium. Or if he doesn't want to change, or if she doesn't want to change, you're just gonna flip her, because there is no other way. This is how the energy works. You can only draw what you are, and if this other part doesn't want to change, or changes just for a little and then wants to go back to the old dynamic, and you are persistent in getting more balanced and not responding to the old programming, the other part has to go away because the energy doesn't match anymore. And this was so eye-opening for me, because however I understood how the programming works, and I understood how we attract people from our subconscious programming. There's also a very interesting part how it goes with the childhood and with whom we fall in love first. But this example of the pencils like being a seesaw really gave me a good, nice inward look of how it is and what can we do about it, and that there is never just the one side to the story. And unless you are not getting balanced, so you can decide how you choose how to behave in a certain situation, whether you let go and become balanced, or sometimes maybe you have to say yes, or you have to say no, because life, it's changing, and sometimes you just have to be very strict and maybe go upwards with some of the decision. But generally, if you want to balance yourself, because there's always two sides of the story, and you always have two sides in you, in your conscious mind and in your subconscious mind. So I hope this was helpful, and yeah, please let me know if you are resonating and if it was of any help, and see you again, and I love you.